You're tuned into the Fake Ass News Network. I'm Hope Violence, and I've got great news for our nation full of people who abhor violence almost as much as they adore it. It's time for more Violence on the Truth. America, we've had a rough few weeks. The assassination of Charlie Kirk, one of the greatest Americans to ever live and whose absolute greatness and sanctity may never be questioned, ever, was obviously a traumatic event for us all. We need to heal. And fortunately, we have in the White House a great consoler-in-chief.
For years, those on the radical left have compared wonderful Americans like Charlie to Nazis and the world's worst mass murderers and criminals. This kind of rhetoric is directly responsible for the terrorism that we're seeing in our country today, and it must stop right now.
You tell him, dear leader. It was all the stupid libtards' fault. But that said, satisfying as that was, it probably didn't do much to heal a wounded nation. Hey, that was never supposed to be the commander-in-chief's job anyway. The job of healing America always properly belonged to our Secretary of Health and Human Services, or as I like to call him, our healer-in-chief. You know, this guy.
I'm very, very happy to be here today. I'm proud that President Trump has appointed me to the position of trust to carry out his agenda to make America healthy again.
According to the New York Times, Kennedy testified in a 2012 deposition that he experienced memory loss at the time, saying, "I have cognitive problems," clearly. Kennedy said one of the doctors said it could have been caused by a worm that got into my brain and ate a portion of it and then died.
At FDA, we are now on track to approve more drugs this year than at any time in history.
There he is, our raspy, wormy, leathery miracle worker, getting Americans all the drugs they need. And we really need them, Bobby. Get us our drugs already! Sure, not everybody loves him, but he's the most popular member of the Trump cabinet with a 42% approval rating. That's just 8 points shy of a majority. Better than this guy can say for himself.
I'm not surprised that you continue to lie from your perch and put on a show so you can go raise money for your charade. You are a political buffoon at best.
Anyway, back to everyone's favorite live Kennedy. Bobby! Let's take a moment to celebrate how much healthier he's made America since assuming the mantle at Health and Human Services. In just 6 short months, he's made children's school lunches healthier. Soon, our kids will be drinking raw milk in our nation's educational institutions. Choke on that, Louis Pasteur, you godless foreigner. We finally live in a country free enough for me to say that. Also, no more fluoridation in the water. Finally, the scourge of unnaturally strong teeth will be a thing of the past. And we're getting rid of toxic food dyes. I mean, they're probably toxic. They seem toxic. Plus, I'm pretty sure Blue Number 2 turned our dog gay, so it's gotta go. Barry, I told you to stop feeding Nibbles cherry blue ices. I mean, look at what it has done to him. Every time we go to the dog park, now he only fucks boy dogs. I guess it wasn't enough for it to only turn you gay. Folks, a big part of doing the MAHA is simply about stripping these horrible woke ideas from our health brains. There's no worse virus than the woke mind virus, and our healer-in-chief is inoculating us against that. But boy, he sure pissed off those deep state science shills when he took a piss directly on the third rail of healthcare wokeology: vaccines.
This week, more than 1,000 current and former HHS workers sent a letter to Congress demanding Kennedy's resignation over his pseudoscientific claims and his attacks on public health. 9 former CDC directors recently wrote in the New York Times, Kennedy's endangering the health of every American.
A massive shakeup at the Centers for Disease Control. Now, the White House says it's fired CDC Director Susan Monarez barely 1 month after she took over. Her lawyers say she, quote, refused to rubber stamp unscientific, reckless directives and fire dedicated public health experts.
Today, the FDA also narrowing the scope of people approved for the COVID vaccine this fall to those over 65 and younger adults and children with underlying medical conditions. So this does now raise questions about whether the vaccine would be covered for people who do not fall into those 2 categories.
Now, sure, you can look at all that and wonder how having less people vaccinated is going to make us healthier. Or maybe you should wonder why, after getting the COVID vaccine and probably multiple booster shots, you're still alive. You have RFK Jr. to thank for saving you from the very real, well, maybe possibly real threat of vaccine injury. Stay away from me with your evil needles, liberal junkies! Let's not get too hung up on vaccines and whether or not we should even be interfering with perfectly natural life forms such as measles or rubella or hepatitis. When it comes to viruses, shouldn't we be pro-life there too? It's called consistency. Look into it. In any case, what we can't do is let the liberal loonies get their way and let all the jab mishigas overshadow MAHA's many great achievements like... I'll think of something. Come on, help me here.
Coca-Cola says it will add a cane sugar version of its trademark cola to its U.S. lineup this fall. The announcement comes days after President Donald Trump said in a social media post that Coca-Cola had agreed to use real cane sugar in its flagship product in the U.S. instead of high-fructose corn syrup.
The administration has already moved to phase out artificial food dyes and fast-track approval of natural alternatives. Kellogg's, General Mills, and Smucker are eliminating artificial dyes from their products. Chains like Popeyes and Sweetgreen have also committed to remove seed oils from menus, which Kennedy has said is linked to obesity and chronic illness.
Of course, this is only part of Bobby Jr.'s greater war on obesity. And don't worry, I'm not talking about you, fatty lard roll. Sorry. I've seen the demographics on my viewers. I know most of you are huge. I'm talking about all the fat this administration trimmed at HHS. They cut 10,000 jobs out of that bloated department. That's 10,000 federal workers you and I don't have to pay for anymore. Well, except for to chip in for their Medicaid. But not for long. Our one big, beautiful bill is making sure that 17 million fewer Americans will be on the healthcare dole by 2034. Guess they'd better learn some self-health, 'cause they're not sneezing on my tax dime anymore. As if money wasn't filthy enough already, Jesus. So if we can steamroll the resistors and implement all these brilliant ideas to make healthcare in America leaner and decidedly meaner, what's the prognosis for America then? Let's get opinions from some of our nation's finest doctors.
The stakes are not theoretical. We already have seen the largest measles outbreak in more than 30 years, which claimed the lives of 2 children. If vaccine protections are weakened, preventable diseases will return.
These cuts are going to be devastating. It is a matter of life and death. Literally, Medicaid has been a lifeline. And without it, people will die.
In our study, we estimate this translates to, 1.9 million Americans losing their doctor, 1.3 million Americans going without needed medications, 1.2 million Americans being saddled with medical debt, 380,000 women not going without their needed mammograms, and biggest of all, we estimate more than 16,500 deaths annually as a result of the coverage losses that would be inflicted by the so-called Big Beautiful Bill Act.
Now, if it's starting to seem like maybe Make America Healthy Again isn't healthing so well, it totally is. You're just not seeing the big picture. MAHA is absolutely going to improve the health of the average American. Okay, let me explain it in simpler terms that even you munchkins can understand. America was healthier when there were fewer of us. By this logic, MAHA will be a success because it's bound to create a catch-as-catch-can healthcare hellscape in which only the strong shall survive. Well, and the very wealthy. And a coterie of bootlickers and thought police like me to keep the whole damn project from flying off the rails. I'm confident that coterie will include my colleague Brian Johnson Balls, who is still recuperating from an incident the last time we talked. Can you hear me all right, Brian?
Yep, I got you in my good ear, Hope. Nicked this one pretty good, and I do thank our listeners so much for all of their concern, and you can stop sending all the letters and flowers now. I don't want you to worry about me. This is going to heal up so fast when I'm inside the security perimeter of our new world order of healthcare. And apparently, all I have to do to get free coverage for life is just lick this. Well, it doesn't seem so bad, right? Huh. Yeah, it's okay, actually. You know, it's just a little salty. Kind of wonder where it's been, but yeah. All right, you know, it really doesn't taste that bad. It tastes like safety. Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, hopefully this helps you little people to understand the plan here. Yes, thanks to MAHA, the average American is indeed going to be healthier. You just probably won't be one of them. I guess the cat's out of the bag now. All our healer-in-chief, this administration, and the billionaires really want is less of you. We can't MAHA everybody. Don't make my billionaire pal Peter Thiel hesitate.
You would prefer the human race to endure, right? You're hesitating.
Yeah, well,
yes?
I don't know. I would.
This is a long hesitation. This is a long hesitation.
There's so many questions implicit in this.
Should the human race survive?
Yes.
Of course billionaires want humans to survive, dummies. Just not so many. It could be years before AI can do everything. Until that glorious day, our overlords are valuing human quality over quantity. So if you still want to be around when we finally do make America healthy again, you'd better be better than the average American or no MAHA for you. And that's Violence on the Truth. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the Fake Ass News Network. It's good for your health.